Hare Krishna, good morning.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimiram Nasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Thiramane नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. So let us taste this nectarian version of Krishna, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and take shelter and find friendship. Okay, we stopped here about how Brahmins are the best among those who study the Vedas. Among these, those who understand the Vedas' real purpose are the best. In fact, just before the class started, me and Rajeshwari Radhika were speaking about personality types. You know, there may be types who appear to be like aloof from this world and they're lost in their own internal world. They may not appear to be catching up with the speed of this world now, but they have talents of being deep and being very talented in areas that we can't see. So sometimes we may see Brahmins who are, hey, they do many yagyas and I don't know what, externally they appear to be like successful brahmanas, but then there might be those who are right deep and they sit down and study. They may appear slow, they're not really making many pujas or yagyas and earning money or something like that, but they may actually be very dear to Krishna because they understand the real purpose of the Vedas. So similarly, in every type, every varnashrama type, there can be in Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. But in this material world, everything appears to be better when it looks like Rajasguna, because Rajasguna is fast. Rajasguna is a generator. It's like creation of, okay, create, next, moving. And when we are in Rajas, we tend to think maybe that other people are not catching up. Or if we are like a little bit in Tamas or Sattva, we may think that, oh my God, I'm very slow for the world. But this section, what we're reading, tells us that, to understand Veda's real purpose, it takes time. It takes patience. So we need to be, relax, take your time, let yourself go deep, be yourself, let others be themselves. And even in Varnashram, understand that not all Brahmins belong to one category, but there are different categories of Brahmins. Higher than a Brahmin who knows the Veda's purpose is one who can dispel others' doubts and confusions. Still higher is that Brahmin who strictly follows all Brahminical principles. Still better is that one who gives up worldly association and does not desire to personally benefit from his religious acts. Highest of all is one who has no interest separate from mine. He dedicates his body, mind, possessions, and words fully to my service. He never claims ownership of anything, sees me always as his master, and acts strictly according to my desire. Such a perfect devotee offers respect to every living entity because he knows that Krishna resides within them all as super soul. Okay, let's pause there. As we can see, there's degradations of Brahmins, those who can teach others and help others with their doubts and confusions is higher, but more higher are those who follow strictly the principles. Right? It's not just about, oh, clean yourself externally and look like a nice Brahmin, but it's about living by the principles of Brahminical values. And then, giving up material association and to not desire any personal benefit from the religious act. That's even better, right? That's usually our Prabhupada's movements. That's what he created, right? The Brahmanas who are in that mood of they don't desire anything personally. I mean, ideally, supposed to be like that in our ISKCON temples, that Brahmanas who come, who live, especially full-time devotees, brahmacharis, sannyasis, they don't have any personal benefit or interest in anything. They just serve the Lord. And then, of course, highest of all is like that Krishna, completely aligned to Krishna's will. Again, it's not so much about varnashram anymore. That's actually a principle of Vaishnava lifestyle, that we don't have our own separate agenda. We just align to Krishna's agenda, because you know why? We become empowered. Krishna can achieve things through us when we become an instrument, and we become happier. It's like when the children listen to the parents and follow the training of a qualified parent, the child becomes better, right? Then if it follows its own thing and just play video game all day or something. Similarly, if we follow Krishna's plan, he has the best plan for us to make us happy, to free us from anarthas. And then important point of what does it mean a perfect devotee? A perfect devotee, again, going back to the principle, right? Going back to the same principle he started off with, saying devotees are not envious to anybody. They're not inimical to anybody, and they are kind and compassionate. So we're coming back to that point here, that they respect all living entities because they know that Krishna resides within them all as super soul. Okay, so very important to remember. And we can see in our own lives that devotees who follow that principle are very inspiring for us. And we look at somebody great and proud and beautiful and wealthy, we're like, okay. But when we see somebody who is like humble and knowledgeable and detached from material things, worldly possessions, and attached to Krishna, whoa, that's so attractive, right? Especially if we are also sattvic, then we are attracted to that kind. So that's why respect to every living entity is something that attracts even the attention of the Lord, what to speak of mere humans. Any questions or comments here? Any comments? Any other thoughts? It's a very important principle here. Okay, and any of you likes to continue reading from this paragraph, my dear mother?
My dear mother, whether one practices the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga or the activities of Bhakti Yoga, one must do so until he attains this perfect stage. Then, by serving me in complete harmony with my desire, he can enter my eternal spiritual abode. The living entities are captured by the material energy when they try to complete with the Supreme
Compete.
Purusha, compete with Supreme Purusha. However, when they desire to cooperate with me and facilitate my enjoyment, then they enjoy the same pleasure as me. I am Bhagwan, Lord Krishna, the origin of both Paramatma and the Brahman effulgence. I am the transcendental chief person, and all my activities are spiritual. Kapila paused for a few moments and then said, "You asked about time, which is fearful to everyone because it is the cause of constant transformation in the world. However, one who knows that time is Vishnu's feature is not afraid of its influence. As the time factor, Lord Vishnu, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, is the master of all masters. The same Vishnu enters everyone's heart as Paramatma and maintains their existence. He causes the inhalations of every being through other beings. Devhuti hand came up to her chin as she sat in thought. Why is one who knows time is Vishnu not afraid of its influence? Does time not act on such people? What is partial to them? Kapila said, No, no one is dear to the Supreme Lord in his form as time. He does not treat anyone as a friend or enemy. As time, he impartially creates, maintains, and destroys all bodies. Those who take shelter of Vishnu, however, are not afraid because, as the Paramatma in their hearts, he gives them inspiration how to act through all these changes of time in order to attain life's goal. Wonderful. Devhuti was still thoughtful. What did Kapila mean by saying time is the master of all masters? Kapila said nature works under Vishnu's super independence.
Superintendence.
In his form of time. In obedience to time, the wind blows, the sun sends forth heat, Indra produces rain, and the stars shine. In strict submission to time, the trees, creepers, herbs, and seasonal plants and flowers bloom and fructify, each in its own season. Out of fear of time, the river flows and the ocean never overflow. In compliance with time, fire burns and the earth planet does not sink into the water of the universe. Despite her mountainous load, in obedience to the time, the sky allow outer space to accommodate all the various planets and the total universal body expands with its 7 coverings. Even the 3 gunas, avatars, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, act in accordance with time's order in the matter of creation, maintenance, and destruction of the cosmos. Everything animate and inanimate within the universe is under their control. As eternal time, Krishna governs this material world, which is like a prison house for rebellious soul. And as time, he will destroy this phenomenal world. As time, he causes one person to give birth to another and the god of death to take life. Time's influence in the material universe is so complete that at the dissolution of the universe, time will also destroy the Lord of Death, Yamaraj. Kapila stopped speaking. The sun was low in the sky as he suggested they adjourn for the night. I shall return soon after sunrise. After his departure, Devhuti and her friend went into the mansion. After refreshing themselves, they discussed Kapila's instruction. I was a bit confused about this whole idea of separatism, said Shema. Me too, said Rangini. Shema went on, I mean, does someone performing bhakti with a separate interest to Krishna get any benefit at all? Devhati took a sip of water. I remember once having a conversation about this with Kardama. He told me that bhakti always produces a result, even when one petitions Krishna to fulfill his material desire.
Let's pause there. Akama sarvakama va mokshakama udharadi tivrena bhakti yogena. That's the verse that she's referring to. Whether we perform devotional service with material desire, without material desire, it's still, it pushes us towards progressive spiritual life. Please continue. Rastastali Mataji, would you like to continue?
Okay.
I don't know who else in the meeting, but if you like to continue, please.
Yeah. Really, said Medha. You mean he fulfills those desires? Yes, said Devahuti. but he does so in a way that one will eventually become free of them. The Lord is so kind, said Shema, but I'm still a bit confused. Kapila said that even the mode of goodness is a contamination. That's right, said Medha, because one desires liberation. Yes, I understand, said Shema, but it seems the options are either to be a separatist or to be on the platform of ecstatic love. What if I am not yet experiencing spontaneous attraction for hearing about Krishna? Does that mean I must be a separatist? Devahuti replied, it all depends upon one's objective. The separatist in the mode of goodness desires his personal liberation. One should only desire to awaken his love for Krishna. What if I do desire liberation? Asked Rangini. What can I do about that? How can I stop being a separatist? We must hear from pure devotees, said Medha. Kapila made that clear yesterday. Yes, said Devahuti. By repeatedly hearing from pure devotees for a long time, the heart will become purified of all the contaminations of the modes of nature. Rangani and Shema nodded appreciatively, appreciatively satisfied with the answer. I had another question, said Rangani after a few moments. What did Kapila mean when he said we should execute bhakti with minimum violence? I thought we were supposed to be completely non-violent. I don't think that's possible, said Medha. When we cook or clean or grow food, we inevitably kill insects and other small creatures. My father also had to use violence to check criminals, said Devahuti. That's the duty of Kshatriyas. Kapila was saying that we should be careful to commit only as much violence as is necessary to perform our duties. The friends discussed till the moon rose and then retired for the night.
Yeah, excellent. So tomorrow we'll start the 30th chapter. Oh my God, it's quite an intense chapter because it's all the descriptions of painful consequences of material life. As we can see, this is already starting here. How much violence we have to commit to just even eat our food. There is so much violence committed before the food comes onto our table, right? So we can't escape the material consequences. At the same time, I was thinking, I was some time ago, I was watching some documentary. It was about, it was kind of scary. Uh, there are some mills, like in America, there are some mills, businesses that grows fetus. Like they kind of um, convince some young girls, and they show the desire for money. They'll say, we'll give you this much money, you get pregnant. They lie to them sometimes, saying it's surrogacy, like we will take your baby and give it to somebody rich and we'll give you this much money. Or sometimes they may just say, we just need your fetus at 7th month or whatever. And then they just basically get this person pregnant through some artificial means. And then they abort the kid around 7 months, like that, 6-7 months. They take out baby fetus, and then they put it through certain procedures. And then that fetus has some specific kind of plasma and certain hormones that are very good for skin treatments. Such a ridiculous thing. So they use that fetus for improving people's like beauty and make them look younger. And then they produce certain kind of very expensive, $1 million serums through that fetus. And like that, there's like a whole business. So many young girls are kept like that in some facilities where they of course lie to the parents and go there, right? They go and they don't tell the truth, they just lie and go there. They'd say maybe I've got a job in America. They've got whatever. They say I've got to go for training to Chandigarh or whatever they will say to the parents. They sign this agreement with these corporations and they go, and nobody knows what happens to them. So it's a whole evil, criminal, violent. I mean, talking about violence, no? Such an extreme, violent thing. For what? For
Mhm.
keeping somebody's skin younger. Of course, for money, basically for money, to make money through such things. And people pay a lot of money for skincare products. And then that research led me to read more about cosmetics and how things are prepared and all this and that. And then I was like, I was making a my own values and principles that I don't want to use any more products which are this,
Mm.
and should only be natural, use turmeric at home, use some creams at like cream of milk at home, do things which, it's like time tested by Vedic things, my grandmother, what she used to use. Better to stick to that because there's so much violence even in a cosmetic product, and it's scary, and then what to speak of other things such as I mean, many things. I'm thinking of shampoos, I'm thinking of food products which use all kinds of ingredients. You have to be so careful if you go into like supermarkets in America, etc. You have to be so careful to read the ingredients. In sometimes in India, they don't even write all the ingredients. They'll just say
Mm.
spices and condiments. You never know what is inside that.
Mm.
And there's so much violence, there's so much violence in milk. What to speak of milk and milk products? That's a whole topic of maybe we should become vegans or something, because unless we know that the cow is protected, you never know how those cows are treated, what's going to happen to those cows, and who do you even know the milk that you're consuming? Do you even know the cow? Right, it's become so impersonal. In traditional times, you would only drink milk from the cow that you know. You don't just drink milk from some random cow, you don't know where it is from. And nowadays, it's very difficult to find such cows and that are protected. I'm just thinking of the cows around here. Oh, it's a whole thing.
Oh my God. Very scary.
Yeah. And factories and mills and the whole education system in India is pushing us towards more and more violent. Oh, yeah. Let me talk about insurances or investments, right? Mutual funds, investments also. Sometimes we are investing in a bank and we don't even know where they're going to invest that money. Alcohol, meat consumption, drugs. We don't know where this money are invested when we invest in a bank. So there are facilities where you can tell the bank, no, we want to invest in safer things, but you never know, they may be investing in meat and alcohol and etc. So everything. I mean, I'm just saying, how much ever we try, our maybe our somebody in our family goes to work in some corporate companies, and who knows what these companies are investing in. They may be investing in harvesting chickens or harvesting killing cows or producing alcohol, and we never know how indirectly, directly we are part of this system, which is a crazy system. So there is so much violence happening to other living entities in order for just survival. So much. Yeah, Rajeshwari Radhika is making another relevant point here. It's better not to use any packed food, also because packed food contains many other things and loaded with preservatives. Yeah, I
Mm.
mean that's like a least of the problem right now. Thinking about all the animals, cows, for me that's like my most sensitive thing. You never know. I used to live in Mexico, and everything used to have some skin of this animal skin. They used to use these wafers, like chips type of things. They would sell in different places. Some will not even have ingredients written on it, but then there will be a guy who's making it on the street or something, And the guy will very coolly use some, I don't know, skin of a pig or skin of some goat or a cow, the remnants of some meat thing. They just take it and they actually put it, and they do it because it's more crispier and this and that. It used to be so difficult, I would not want to eat anything outside. And then I would like ask devotees to cook, and then I would keep it in my fridge for like 10 days, the same food, put it in the freezer. The same thing because I didn't want to buy food outside. Everything, even the meat is like in any everything and anything. And of course, when we say preservatives, who knows what is inside it as well,
Even their
So
oils,
it's
even
like,
their oil, what they
mm,
use, na oil. There's all fat, animal fat.
true, true.
Yeah,
And anyway, the point here is the conclusion. Let's conclude it.
yeah,
The conclusion is that we are surrounded by so many violent procedures of human existence, and in the name of human existence, there's so much violence. At the same time, as Shema was saying, why Kapila didn't say don't do any violence. Well, if we have to do no violence, we have to stop eating, we have to stop commuting, we have to stop sending our kids to school, we have to stop doing everything, going to jobs and investing our money into anything, because all that contains some violence to one degree or another. So Kapila is saying minimum. So do minimum. And then what to do with all the karma that we'll accumulate? Well, if we are doing all those things so we can remain Krishna conscious, so we can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna will take care of that. But we shouldn't do it with greed or etc.